Hi, this is Dr. Amie Harwick, licensed marriage and family therapist and sex therapist, and today we're going to talk about BDSM skills. Oh, I bet you sound very excited when you hear that, but no, not the fun stuff. We're actually going to be talking about emotional communication and relationship skills that people in the BDSM community and that participate in BDSM activities actually become experts at. So I'm going to help teach you what those are, and you can apply them to your own relationship. So a quick overview. BDSM stands for bondage, discipline, sadism, masochism, and the DS in the middle actually could also stand for dominance and submission. So it's all these different types of psychological and physical type of plays that people can engage in. People can identify as part of a BDSM community, a lifestyle, or just like doing a BDSM type activity once in a while. So BDSM and kink are really umbrella terms that can apply to so many different things. There's no one type of person or activity that you could say that is BDSM or that is only kink. It's a large, wide variety. So I know sometimes we think about somebody into BDSM being like a leather-clad dominatrix with boots on and all kinds of embellishments with her whip, and you know, those people exist, but a large majority of the people that I know or I work with that work in the kink or exist within the kink BDSM realm typically don't look like that. So let's get those ideas and stereotypes out of our head and move forward and talk about strengths. So let's talk about strengths and resiliency. One of the perspectives that I practice from in terms of a therapist is a strengths-based perspective. And what this says is that pretty much I believe that most people have the capacity to grow, to change, to have resilience, to increase skills, and that everything they really need is inside of them, but sometimes they need some help kind of getting in that direction. So the belief that people have these strengths, we just have to tap into them. People in the BDSM community typically, if they're successful at these types of activities and lifestyles, have to develop certain skills to engage in what they're doing ethically, safely, and for the best possible outcome. So I'm going to tell you what those things are that I've pulled out of those lifestyles from working around these communities. And these are concepts that can be applied to everybody, every relationship, sexual, romantic, kinky, non-kinky, all of the above. Skill number 1, communication and negotiation. Typically in the BDSM community, you communicate what you're looking to do, what your boundaries are, your hard no's, the things you gotta have, and you talk about this before you do what they call a scene or any type of interaction. So imagine if we did that in other areas of our lives. Hey, before we hook up, like, I'm not into this, don't do this, here are my boundaries, and then you proceed. And imagine those things are respected. It just does not happen as much with things outside of that community. And negotiation, what are you willing to do to me? What do I want to do to you? Verbal negotiation of what you want and what's about to go down. So one way that you can do that is to make a yes, no, maybe list with your partner. You can find guidelines and PDF files online. Just Google yes, no, maybe list. Lots of good templates out there. A yes, no, maybe list is going over all of these types of behaviors. It can be everything from kissing and PDA to spanking, choking, spitting, whatever, all the range of things. Also, make sure when you communicate, you use open-ended questions, you stay open-minded, you create a safe space for this communication, you're not judgmental. So communication and negotiation, big skill. Skill number 2, engagement in aftercare. So aftercare is what you do after a scene, which is a BDSM experience, or imagine after sex or sexual activity. This is something you might talk about beforehand. Hey, after we have sex, I would really like to just cuddle for maybe like 20 or 30 minutes. It could be that simple. Sometimes aftercare is blankets, a cup of tea, encouraging words. It could be cuddling. It could be massage. It could even be, I need some space after we have sex. And if you could just respect my boundaries and give me a little bit of time to process what just happened on my own. That's also a type of aftercare, respecting somebody's need to kind of be alone. In the BDSM world, let's say there was impact play or something that caused pain or bruising. Sometimes that's caring to wounds that were consensually occurring. It could also just be massaging and anything that's going to help somebody readjust back to the present day of what's going on. When we are in not just a BDSM scene, but when we are in a sexual moment, we are not in the normal reality. We have different hormones and neurotransmitters going. We see and experience the world differently. So in the transition back to normal life after having a sexual experience, we need some coaching, caring, empathy. And that's really important to get from a partner. A lot of times in old movies, you'll see them smoking a cigarette in bed. And even though we definitely don't advocate for smoking at this point, what that is doing is giving this couple this time to just relax and do a thing together and quiet and lay down. So there's a purpose in that, even though it's not healthy, so we can have a different and alternative thing to do. So that's aftercare. It's really important to slowly and empathetically re-engage back into the world together and in a way that's understood, where you can be seen and heard. Skill 3, the ability to take calculated risks. So everything you do in life has a risk. Every time you have sex with somebody, there is a risk. No matter how you use a condom or how you talk to them, there's always a risk. So calculated risks with education are the best way to go ahead and take any risk. So people in the BDSM community typically are going to take more calculated risks, really be aware and educated about what it is they're doing and engaging in, and understanding that there are risks that could be involved, and if those things happen that are potential things that would be challenging, they know how to handle them and know what to do if these things come up. Typically, outside of that community, I just don't see that happening as much. So, if you decided to go skydiving, you wouldn't just jump out of a plane. You would research it, talk to people who did it, talk to an expert, get training, get the certification, maybe read a book about it, watch a movie about it. And then you would do it and think about all the things that could go wrong and how you would handle those things. That's a calculated risk. So in sex, why are we not doing this? We should be educated, read books, talk to experts, go see a sex therapist, talk to our friends, know what the risks are that you're involving yourself in instead of just jumping in blindly. So that is a calculated risk. Skill number 4, the use of safe words. So of course we've heard safe words in movies and seen people engage in this, and I don't see people outside of the BDSM community really using safe words. But the purpose of safe words is a boundary in the moment that is taking you out of the sexual mindset. So when we are aroused and all the serotonin's going on and all of our hormones, it's really hard to just stop when something isn't working well or somebody says no. In fact, some cases, no is part of a sexual play. If you have a fantasy where somebody's being resistant and it's a consensual behavior and somebody says no, you might not stop. So it's important before you enter into a sexual scenario to make a safe word that is not something that would be associated with play. Probably no is not the best safe word. Also, maybe that feels good wouldn't be a safe word. Something like a color, like red. Or people often use fruit because typically you're not going to be screaming out pineapple while you're having sex. It would take you out of the moment. So the goal is take yourself out of the moment with a word that is not a sexy time word. So it's really important to do this because it's important to be able to, in the moment, stop things if you need them to stop. So you can process them, so you can readjust. People can often feel triggered during sex or not speak up until it's really gone too far. So pick a safe word and try to use it. Engage with it, practice it. It's something I don't see people outside of the kink community doing that I think would be a really helpful skill. So to summarize, all of these skills that we talked about are important that are usually mastered in the BDSM or kink community, but I don't see them used very much outside of that world. And I think that all of these skills are just important skills to engage in an ethical, safe, empathetic, caring way sexually, not just for yourself as a form of self-care, but to best engage with any other person, whether it be a casual sex partner or a longtime sex partner. Well, he's out. That was my cat Marquis, and we would like to thank you for watching things that you can learn from the BDSM community that you can apply to your own relationship in terms of negotiation, communication, and emotionally intelligent skills. This is Dr. Amie Harwick. Until next time, have a great day.